On today's show, how did the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics? I thought they were unbeatable, Pat. We'll talk about that and more in today's Locked On NBA. Let's go.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You're locked on to the NBA. My name is Nick Engstead, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On NBA your first listen today or your second. Well, the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform, leave a 5-star review, like the video on YouTube, and comment anything below. Let me know, how many more games will the Heat win in this series? I'm curious what people think about this. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I've got a competitive side, so does Pat. And we are big fans of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on a classic Monopoly game. Join your friends and download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or Google Play. And joining me, as always, on a Thursday, host of Locked On Bulls, it's Love, bro. What you got for me, Pat, the designer?
Y'all let him get one. Y'all let that boy Jimmy get one. He's not even on the court. Y'all let him get one. Y'all let him get one.
Oh, it's so great. We'll talk about Boston, Miami, and Jimmy Butler's Instagram. We'll talk about OKC and the Pelicans. OKC just running away with that one. Is it time to put the Pelicans to bed? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about, did Malik Monk get snubbed from Sixth Man of the Year 2 years in a row? Pat, did he get snubbed? And then, of course, we'll play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including Tyrese Haliburton. Little too petty from Tyrese Haliburton, and then the little switch up from Haliburton. We'll talk about that. Yeah. And more. We gotta start here, Pat. The Boston Celtics were supposed to be, and we talked about them several times, this dominant team that just would fly through the East. I think it was Bill Simmons who predicted that they would go 12-0 in the East, going all the way to the finals. That lasted one game.
Bill Simmons wrong already? No.
On the Celtics? Nah. Love Bill. He's the reason I'm doing this.
Bill's good, actually. I do enjoy Bill,
but not right about that. The Boston Celtics lose this game, and the Miami Heat take it in a way that I don't think a lot of people expected. No Jimmy Butler, no Terry Rozier, too. That's not going to be mentioned a lot today, but Terry Rozier did not play in this game either. And the Miami Heat hit 23 threes, the most threes hit on the Celtics this season. Was it just the threes, Pat? Is that the only thing that Miami had? Was it just the threes, and it was just lucky that it was a Magnets game for the Heat because the Magnets were turned on the rim and the ball was going in? Was that it?
Well, I think it's the combination of the threes and who Miami naturally is, right? And that's what kind of makes, if you can get enough offense out of this Miami team, it always makes them dangerous, because when you look at even the on-off numbers with Jimmy Butler on the court and off the court, this team, you can tell in Miami, just has a philosophy. They have a way that they go about things, especially defensively. And well, I'm not going there, but I just think that, right, when you talk about them going up against Boston, they understand that defensively, we know how to play this team. Defensively, we know how to attack this team. Adding Kristaps Porzingis, adding Drew Holiday, who also we had to beat on the way to an NBA championship, or an NBA finals, I should say, not a championship. We know how to do that as well. So we just got to kind of put our game plans together. The problem that has always shown its head for the Miami Heat has been on the offensive end. Last year, you had playoff Jimmy just able to go ballistic every single game. This year, you get the three-point shooting. So I don't think that it's just the three-point shooting. I think it's more so just any amount of offense that you can get consistently from the Miami Heat always has them with an opportunity to put them over the top, because of how well they play on the defensive end and because of how well they know this Boston Celtics team.
Erik Spoelstra, great coach, best coach in the NBA. I think everybody can agree with that by far.
Absolutely.
That gives you an advantage. We're seeing that in a lot of these series. If you have a better coach than the other team, then that'll just give you an advantage. Who knew that coaching could be a big deal in the NBA? Erik Spoelstra said to Tyler Herro after the game, "That's the best playmaking you've ever done." Do you want to take a shot and guess Tyler Herro's career high in assists before this game? He had 14 tonight. Career high in a regular season game or playoffs.
6.
No,
am I too high?
No, give him a little more credit than that.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, he's a shooter. I'm not
11. He's only had 11
okay,
in a game before and had 14 tonight, and 9 of those were for 3-point shots. I mean,
well, hold on now. Now, in my defense, I'm going low on that because you made it sound like this dude never passes the ball. So I was like, it's got to be some obscure number that I'm never going to be able to get.
The fact you guessed 6. The fact that he had 3 more assists than he's ever had in a single game, even like a regular season game where Jimmy's out and Bam's out and he's the only guy and kicking out to like has the ball in his hands all the time. I mean, he's played 48 minutes at a game before, but that he was the one on the controls, and he had a much better game, obviously, than he had in game 1, kicking it out to those guys. And also, the original question was it just threes for Miami? Miami hit their 20th 3 with 9 minutes to go in the game. The game, they still had to create enough offense the rest of the game to hold it and hold the lead basically and hold the line once they made their run. They made the 11-0 run in the third quarter, and that's what really got them going. And that was threes, and that was Boston not hitting enough shots and not hitting any shots really during that run. We'll talk about them in a minute, but I think it's Tyler Herro gets a lot of credit for this, and then Bam hit 7 shots around the free throw line, just over Al Horford, over different guys. That was a really big part of their offense too, is those timely buckets and just the fact that Bam got some offense, because we had been looking for that for a while.
No, yeah, and I think that's the thing too, right? You when you start to talk about, okay, what really is going to put Miami over the top? What's really going to help Miami get maybe another game out of this or make this into one of those series like we saw last year? It's the other guys, right? I'll tell you who the guy that steps up and continues to step up that I really think is a massive piece in Miami having this good start. And yeah, it didn't play as well tonight, but getting 14 extra points out of Jaime Jaquez that maybe you didn't expect to get from somebody. And yes, somebody who I've made fun of a lot for Jaime Jaquez.
Every time we bring up the Heat, you say Jaime Jaquez. Like, you gotta have
Jaquez. Gotta have the emphasis on it. I said it normal. Hey, listen, he deserves respect on his name because you've seen him continue to step up in multiple situations, not be scared, not shy away, adding just that little extra oomph. And I know, like I said, didn't shoot his best tonight, 4 for 13, but 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. That helps. You talk about Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo not playing scared tonight. We've seen games where it's like, hey, listen, I know like you're the undersized guy, but so many times when you're just aggressive, it seems like you can overpower anybody standing on the other side of you. We need that more often than not. Seeing that tonight, it just felt like, hey, listen, I'm in a rhythm. I know where I can get my shot, and I'm going to be very consistent with that. And this is a game the Miami Heat win that, yeah, they were down in the first half coming out of that first half. So seeing the barrage that they turned up, not only on the offensive end going 10 from 19 from 3 in the second half, but to me, defensively, how they just forced 6 turnovers in that second half in total. You put guys in bad positions. You did not allow guys to get open looks. Miami's defense can do no wrong for me. And I think that everybody's going to look at the threes and say, this is really what put them over the top. But if they get any amount of consistent offense in this series, we may get another surprise series here because we know they know how to defend the Boston Celtics.
Don't let them get one. Don't let them get one.
Don't let them get one.
Speaking of knowing how to defend the Boston Celtics, they did. And their second half, the Boston second half offense was absolutely awful in this game. They scored 40 points in the second half. 40 points. How many times has this team scored 40 in a quarter this season? In the third quarter, they only scored 18 points, and it felt to me the only time Boston scored in that quarter was when Miami just made a mistake, like legitimately made a mistake, and it turned into a dunk. Tatum was 3 of 8 in the second half. All of his makes, all three of his makes were at the rim. Like Miami either gave up a dunk, or they didn't get a shot off, or didn't like. It was amazing to watch the Miami defense and to see this Boston Celtics team who had just dominated for so long. Miami or Boston has only been down by 10 or more in a game at home one time since February 1st. Like, they just haven't gone through some of these moments before, and you saw it kind of get to Tatum in that moment. Now for Boston, what's a good enough response in game 3 that would make you feel good about them being like this dominant team again?
I mean, listen, just bounce it back and playing the way that you did in game one. I don't even think it has to be a blowout, but just confident. I'll ask you this. I'll ask the audience this. Let us know in the comments below. Didn't it feel like Boston kind of went into a, oh no, here we go again mode? Like, that's what I saw in this game too. Like, there's no, and that's why I think the Jimmy sending the tweet out, and we'll talk, or the Instagram post out, and we'll talk about that as well, of don't let us get one, is for real, because watching that second half, I was like, is Boston like worried that they don't have enough right now? Is Boston kind of playing a little close to the, like, are we going to do this again? That's what it looked like to me in that second half. So I need you to respond in a way of like, we're not scared of you. Good job. You punched us in the mouth. Yeah, you got one at home. Now we're going to wipe the floor with you for me to be confident about this Boston team moving forward.
I'm with you. They've got to come out big, and they've got to really put this Miami team and show them who they are, because they're supposed to be this team. Like, we made fun of Bill Simmons at the beginning, but they were that good of a team that should go through the East like that and should win in this way, and they just haven't. That's what's been so confounding about this Boston team in several ways, is that they just, it seems like when push comes to shove at certain points, you're like, all right, Jayson Tatum, finally be that superstar we've been waiting for you to be. And he goes 3 of 8 from the field in the second half. And you're like, all right, well, coming up, we'll talk about OKC and New Orleans. We'll talk about Sixth Man of the Year. And then, of course, we'll play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. And we'll include Jimmy Butler's Instagram post that he did after this Boston game. We'll talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. eBay Motors has you covered for all kinds of different parts that you can get for your car. If you've listened to Locked On NBA at any point ever, you know that Jake Madison has been a host of Locked On NBA, and he uses eBay Motors all the time. He works on cars. I've seen the cars that he works on, and he gets all of his parts from eBay Motors because they have that eBay guaranteed fit. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. So go check it out. They have 122 million different parts to choose from, so you know that you can get something for your car. All you have to do is go to the site, put in the make, the model, the year, all that, and it'll just display all the parts available for you. You can get things like roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, anything like that. Keep your ride or die car alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA. Being an everydayer, listening every day. We have a daily Locked On show that covers your team. Check the link in the description to find a show that covers your team every day. We also have the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel and stream. It's 24/7, covering sports all across. We basically curate like the biggest stories of the day and play them on there. So just play in the background, play it and see what stories you're interested in, and check that out. It's also on Amazon Fire TV, Locked On Sports Today, YouTube, and Amazon Fire TV. All right, Pat, let's talk about OKC. They dominate in this game. I mean, do we even need to say the score? 124-92. They dominate in this game. How did OKC dominate in this game?
My favorite quote that I've ever heard somebody say, and I'm gonna go a little football on this part, because we were interviewing somebody who was the radio host from the Arizona Cardinals. I said, how do the Bears beat the Cardinals? And he said, how do the Bears want to beat the Cardinals? That's how OKC won this game. OKC won this game however they wanted. I mean, this game was never, I guess, like in theory, realistically speaking, because of entertainment, they made the first quarter somewhat entertaining. Outside of that, OKC just had anything they wanted. They shoot 48% from the three-point line tonight. Didn't even need to shoot 48% from the three-point line. Only took 29 threes. They forced 17 turnovers and just continued to absolutely pummel the Pelicans. The Pelicans looked lost in this game from the word go. And I mean, there was nothing that they could do. They scored 22 points off turnovers. You want to talk about a recipe for disaster? Like the Pelicans looked just completely outmatched in this game. There were too many times in this game where I was sitting there looking at my TV just going, is Brandon Ingram on the court? He took 10 shots. Two shots Ingram in the first half. Shots.
2 in the first half. Without like, and Zion's not playing, right?
Like, right? Does he know that
you're the guy
who can shoot? Like, I don't understand this Pelicans team. I'm not gonna lie, it's the reason I love the play-in tournament, but I was so upset when they made the playoffs. And I'm not upset because I don't think that they couldn't have done more if Zion's there. I think if Zion's there, this is a competitive series. Without Zion, this isn't competitive at all. Like it's
No.
literally the 1 seed playing the 8 seed, or I'm sorry, the 1 seed playing the 8 seed. Like that's
it's what it is.
That's what it looks like. And it's like, oh, okay, well, you thought you got more, maybe.
I feel like we'll talk more about the Pelicans, and we usually like go to the team that lost more than the team that won, but this is who this Pelicans team is. We've seen this all year from this team, Zion or not. This team will play real competitive and hustle in one game, and you go, man, this Pelicans team really played the Thunder really well. And then they'll play another game where you go, oh my God, is this Pelicans team terrible? Like, are they the worst? Like, are they the worst team ever? The Pelicans gave up any switch that the OKC wanted. I asked Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder. I was like, hey, what was the biggest difference? And he was like, they gave up any switch. And this Pelicans team, they have really good defenders. Herb Jones should be all defense. I think he got it in one of those polls. You've got some good defenders on this team, but then you've also got CJ McCollum, Jose Alvarado, just small. You've got Jonas Valanciunas, big and lumbering. You've got Najee Marshall. You got a couple of wings there. Brandon Ingram, who you want to save on offense, I guess 10 shots. I don't know what they're doing on that, but they have opportunities for mismatches. Is my point. And if you're gonna give the Thunder any mismatch they want, they've got a bunch of dudes that just drive. Yeah. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drives a ton. Jalen Williams, both of those. I mean, 17 shots for Jalen Williams, 19 shots for SGA, and then 13 shots for Chet Holmgren, who just did not care that Jonas Valanciunas is supposed to be this big lumbering center that he's not supposed to be able to play against in a playoff setting. He did not care at all in this game, and they just got whatever they wanted, really. I mean, this is what OKC can do to you.
I mean, listen.
Is it time to put the Pelicans to bed?
It's absolutely time to put the Pelicans to bed. I mean, listen, and I think you hit the nail on the head. The point that I really wanted to bring out is, you would look at this game and think that Chet dominated by like knocking down the tray ball all day. Like he was, knocking it down from no. Chet literally was like, I'm not scared of you. I'm going to the paint. I'm not worried about. Yes, he did knock down the three
like
ball.
Like a real boy center.
You know what I mean? Like he literally was like, "You're Jonas Valanciunas. Like this is cute, but like we're gonna pack you guys up and get you up out of here." And the confidence that you see from this team, and of course it all starts with Shai, right? And we know what Shai is, possible MVP winner. We don't know if he ends up getting it or not, but I mean, listen. He's got a resume that says he could.
Possible MVP runner-up, Shai Gilgeous.
Possible MVP runner-up. It could be that as well. It's going to be tough to be Jokic. But you just see the confidence, and I think how he scored the basketball tonight, it just really infused everybody on the court. And literally, once they started on their run, it literally was just like, as you said, pack them up. We're not worried about the New Orleans Pelicans. Who do we have in the next round? I'm not saying overlook these guys. You got 2 games in New Orleans, right? Maybe they could steal one, and you don't want to be sitting here extending this kind of series. Pack these guys up, go full force on these guys, and make sure that you get them up out of here because nobody deserves to see this. This is a horrible playoff series, bro. Like this is the worst matchup we could have gotten.
Played well. I thought they played well in game 1. Well, just like the Pelicans, we're packing them up. We're also packing up this game, and we're gonna move on. The 6th man of the year was given to Naz Reid, the first Timberwolf ever to make 6th man. He's also the 3rd player to earn the award after not being selected in the draft. John Starks did it in 97. Darrell Armstrong, DA, the assistant coach for the Mavs now, is won at 99 without being drafted. But we're not going to talk about the guy that won in the same way that we talked about the Pelicans more than the Thunder. Malik Monk is the first player in 35 years to lead the league in bench scoring in back-to-back seasons and not win 6th man. This season, Malik Monk had the most points off the bench, the most assists off the bench, most 20-point games, most 25-point games off the bench, most clutch points, most field goals made, most 3 points made off the bench. My question is, did Malik Monk get robbed?
This is always tough for me. By the numbers, yes. By all the stats, yes. By every metric that says I have to go to a 6-man off of the bench in crucial moments, yes, he did.
But by your feelings?
But well, I don't even know if it's feeling right. It's okay. How much do we weigh winning into this? Because Naz Reid was the sixth man on a team that absolutely used Naz Reid a ton. You can't say it like he was underutilized on this team, on a Timberwolves team that was at the top half of the Western Conference, versus Malik Monk being on a team that is struggling and did not end up making the playoffs. Now, not struggling as if like they had a terrible season, but you weren't where the Timberwolves were. How much does your team going out there and finishing off those games, utilizing you in those late moments and being able to count on you, weigh on that? Where for Naz Reid, for me, guess what? I can count on him to go out there and score the basketball when I need him to. I can count on him to get to the bucket when I need him to. I count on him to shoot, and I can count on him on the defensive end. With Malik Monk, I need the defense, I guess, to step up a little bit more in that situation.
I think he got robbed. I think we've shown what this award has been year after year, and then they just put different rules on it sometimes. And this award is given to the guy off the bench that can be the lighted up scorer and all that. And Malik Monk doing all this and being the most impactful off the bench. I'm with Matt George. If you go check out Matt George from Locked On Kings, his Twitter account, it is rife with Malik Monk.
I'm not mad.
Feelings and being upset. It was really close though. The voting. They vote, each voter gets 3 votes. And so you vote first place, second place, third place. They got the same number of second and third place votes. They got 39 second place votes and they got 10 third place votes. But Naz Reid got 2 more first place votes. 2 more. So 2 people decided the difference between that and between Malik Monk getting robbed and Malik Monk not getting robbed. So I think that's pretty funny. But
you know what we need to stop, though? What we need to stop voting for the dude that has no shot at winning.
You don't like the third place vote for Jonathan Isaac or the other Bogdanovich on New York?
Bro, that irritates me so much, bro, because it's literally like, and I've heard voters say this, well, I want to give a guy credit, but he's got no chance at winning. Right? Like it's like sitting there saying that when we heard Bulls fans talk about Joakim Noah got 5 MVP votes.
Oh yeah, the fifth place, and
it was like, what? Yeah. Why? What? Oh well, we just want to give him some love.
That is the classic beat writer thing. The beat writer will give a third place vote to a player just to like, hey, I voted for you, just to keep up the like relationship with them. But
and you know what you can do, like to do it, that goes more than just voting for a guy that has no shot at winning. Why don't you write a good article about him? It's like your job. Or why don't you talk nice about him on your show and say, I can't vote for him, but I think he absolutely should be in the conversation. Boom. That's love.
We should just package that whole thing and send it to like some political company so that they
my God.
when the election,
it irritates me so
nobody
much.
Votes third party.
No, don't you drag me into that. I'm out of that.
Just replace the nouns. It's the same sentiment. Coming up, let's play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including Jimmy Butler goes a little petty on Instagram, and Tyrese Haliburton goes petty on the podium. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
In 2 voices.
Everybody has something in their life that they need to work out, that they need to talk through, that they need to think about. You just want somebody in your life that also doesn't have a connection to your life, so they're not going to tell anybody that some of these things and thoughts, and just something you want to work through without judgment. BetterHelp is there to help you. I've used BetterHelp before. I still go to therapy. I still go to online therapy too, because it's designed to be entirely online, flexible, suited to your schedule, and all that. If you match with a therapist and you don't really vibe the first time, you can change. I've changed a couple times and tried to find somebody that worked for me. And so you can do that with BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. We're also brought to you by DoorDash. You're sitting at home, you're watching some playoff games, and you're like, man, I want some food or I want something, but I just don't want to go out and get it. It's DoorDash. DoorDash right there for you. They have all kinds of offers and things that you can get. You can get a great meal delivered, but you can also get a whole bunch of other things too. You can get stuff delivered for Mother's Day. Get something meaningful or thoughtful for your mother. My mom lives in a different state. I'll probably get DoorDash for her to get something delivered to her, because I can get flowers delivered right there to her. They just go to the grocery store, they grab the flowers, and they take them to her house. You don't have to worry about all the crazy, ridiculous prices of all the those flower delivery companies and all that. So get a Mother's Day gift as unique as she is with DoorDash. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's Locked On NBA. Use DoorDash today. Terms apply. All right, Pat, it's that time of the week where we play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA this week. It's the playoffs, so you know we're ramping it up, and it's time.
Big chicken, baby.
Zion Williamson and porn star.
Take that for that.
Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
So as the tag on to our first talk about the Boston and Miami, Jimmy Butler, after the game, he's not playing in the series so far. He's been out with an injury.
Yep.
He posted a Photoshop of himself in Jaylen Brown's jersey and Jaylen Brown, where Jaylen Brown had a quote from last season where he said, "Don't let us get one," about Miami going up 3-0 in that series. Now, you remember Boston did get one. They got 3 and they forced a game 7, and then Miami won it, went to the finals last year. My question is about Jimmy Butler.
Count it up.
Is it too petty, or do you like it from a guy not playing in the series?
I love it because, listen, he's not playing in a series, but he is the epitome and the catalyst of what this Miami Heat's team's mindset is. And I think the fact that he's sitting there, or even on the sidelines, you still see him firing his team up, talking all the time in Tyler Herro's ear. He's talking to Bam Adebayo, go be aggressive. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that this still sets the tone of like, hey, and we still gonna try to piss these dudes off. Remember, it was all said and done until somebody decided to piss off Jimmy Butler, somebody that you know very well. And in Dallas, that was Grant Williams, right? And Jimmy has no problems obliging your petty with petty. Yeah, well, I'm not there anymore. Yeah. He talked. That's the best thing Draymond did this entire season. He said, "You talked yourself out of Dallas." Nobody expected that. Such a great line. But yeah, I love this from Jimmy Butler. I love the petty. And listen, I'll tell you this right now, especially being able to do it after Miami beats you without him.
Yes,
like,
this is my point with it. He playing with house money. This Miami team. Boston is a 64 win team. They are the team. They are the one that should be dominant, sweeping through the East, and Miami got a game on them, and he's using the quote against him. I'm totally for this. It's not petty enough. He could go even farther with it if he wanted. I'm loving Jimmy Butler for doing that. Awesome stuff.
18-game lead is how Boston finished over Miami. 18-game lead.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot of games. A lot of games.
Speaking of a lot of games, we've seen a lot of games from the Pacers and the Bucks this season. They played in the in-season tournament. They played in the regular season a bunch, and now we're in the playoffs with them. And now it's split 1-1, and they've played 2 games in Milwaukee. And we heard this quote from Tyrese Haliburton about the crowds in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be unbelievable. No doubt about that. I mean, we've had regular season crowds better than what we've played in these last 2 games.
Just about that part. We've had regular season crowds better than what we've had these past 2 games. Do you like it? Is it too petty? Is he playing with fire?
Count it up.
I mean, listen, it doesn't sound like Giannis is coming back, so I don't think he's playing with fire. Like,
Also,
Milwaukee.
Who's scared of the Milwaukee crowd?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's playing Milwaukee, bro.
Playing with fire. What are they gonna do?
I'll say this: do I think that Milwaukee's got a better chance of winning this series? Yeah, but it has nothing to do with Milwaukee. It has everything to do with the fact that I don't know if Indiana's gonna give you 3 more games of any kind of defense. Wow. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it comes down to.
Not in Rick Carlisle's playbook.
But I think that he's fine making this statement. I saw a lot of Milwaukee fans that were very upset about this too, and they instantly started attacking him. Was like, "We believed in you first, and now you turn your back on us." It's like, oh, okay, all right.
You turn your back on you. You turn your back on the world.
Don't you turn your back on me, Sky.
Bobby Portis also said this about the quote. I mean, just quite frankly, they're front runners, bro. Y'all can just tweet that or whatever it is, bro. When the SHIT is going good, they're laughing, clapping, and all that. When it's going bad, they're not saying nothing.
I do agree with that.
This is the classic Luka. You always act tough when they up.
Mm-hmm. I do agree with that. I do think that there's a lot of chest beating and trash talk when they're running the floor and they're jumping around and they're chest bumping. And now, granted, it'd be weird if they were chest bumping down 15, but it does seem like it's a very different, they're not talking trash to Bobby Portis on the court. They're not sitting there saying what they're going to do to you when they're not up.
The quote didn't end, though, from Tyrese Haliburton.
Oh, boy.
The quote continued on.
God.
The quote he had about Milwaukee starts, and let me make this very clear. This is one person talking.
Same dude.
I did not edit this at all. This is Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be unbelievable. No doubt about that. I mean, we've had regular season crowds better than what we've played in these last 2 games, so we expect a great crowd. A lot of people are excited about what's to come, in the series, and
just the energy in the city right now with everything that's going on, but especially with us. So, we're excited to go.
Have you ever seen the TikToks of the voice actors? It's like the woman that plays Tommy Pickles or Bart Simpson or who's Tara that plays like all the Powerpuff Girls or whatever.
Yeah.
You ever seen
Regina
them?
King on Boondocks?
Or who's Shelby Young, who goes through like all the different like Disney princesses or whatever, and she'll like do a rapid fire where she'll like do a bunch of different voices on.
Yeah.
That's what he just did, like unintentionally on this, where he just completely changes his voice in the middle of this.
I heard him do this the first time on the Pat McAfee show, and Pat McAfee yesterday like looked at his staff and was like, "Did the mic mess up?" And he was like, "You got a thing with your voice there." He's like, "I've heard this. I don't know why it does it, but it just does." And I wondered this, right? Here's what I've since I heard it, and then I started paying attention to it in post-game shows. I wonder if as a kid he used to pretend to do post-game shows as like Kobe or something like that. And so like he would try to do the Kobe voice, and then like he snaps back into his voice midway through because now he's just doing it unintentionally, because it's the weirdest thing in the world. The switch isn't even close. It's like he clears his throat in the middle of it too. Like,
yeah, I'm expecting it to be unbelievable.
Oh, it's too long. Well, it's like he clears his throat a little bit, and then he just he's completely changes his voice, and it just completely changes.
And that's the thing. It's like he goes from like, yeah, I really appreciate being a part of the game, and I think that we got a great game. I really enjoy everything that these guys are bringing to me, and
who is Steve Urkel's?
Stefan Urkel.
Stefan Urkel.
He's going from Stefan Urkel to Steve Urkel, bro. That is that's insane, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And it's either one of two things. Either it's one
of two things, because it's two different voices. It's either one.
Exactly. No, it's either the interview thing or this is the greatest troll of all time.
Oh, it's just a bit.
That's all I can think, bro. Like I've never heard a person do this.
Bobby Portis did say that when they're up, they just are laughing and clapping, and maybe they're just doing bits. Maybe this is a bit for them.
It's all a bit, man.
So funny. There you go. That's the NBA tonight. That's everything you need to know what happened in the NBA. Go check out Locked On Bulls.
Yes. Yeah, we're still doing shows. We're still doing shows. We're still hired.
So proud of you guys.
We're nervous every now and then when we do certain episodes. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna fly.
Well, I cut something out of this episode that will never see the light of day. So go listen to Locked On Mavs too. The Mavs are still playing, so go listen to them. Thanks for listening to Locked On NBA.
Bye.
Boom. Oh, I'd get fired. So